And what about the rest of the card for you guys? What was some of the highlights on the card? We'll get to the highlights first. So for both of you guys, what were some of the matches that you really felt like, wow, AEW put on some great matches and tremendous performances? So let's go with that.
For me, Cody versus Dustin.
Yes.
You know, how do I encapsulate this? Match of the year. One of the best matches I've seen in the decade. And I'm not talking technical wrestling here, but storytelling, shock value, and impact. And it was so well done. And I had goosebumps during the match from the beginning with the entrance, the shot at Triple H from Cody.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, to Brandy Rhodes spearing her brother-in-law, to, you know, Dustin Rhodes just putting on the performance of a lifetime, bleeding like a stuck pig. Just, you know,
I think there's still blood in Las Vegas from him. Still,
yeah, it was a bloodbath, and it was just done so well. Man, it was one of the best matches of the decade, in my opinion. Cody versus Dustin put AEW on the map.
For you, Brandon, I know you were very high on this match as well in our production meeting.
See, I hate to sound like I'm just copying what is being said, but I mean, that was actually my pick regarding match of the night. The character development, the blood. It just felt like, even for like Dustin, like when you look at WWE and how he was utilized as Goldust, which is actually a quite appealing gimmick, still a very appealing gimmick for what it was created for, and how questionable that was. We can discuss that another day. But, you know, comparing the Goldust character to Dustin in AEW, it's just a complete flip. It felt more dark. It felt more serious. And the objective, I mean, not counting the aftermatch situation, this really did feel like the objective for Cody to end the Attitude Era. It tried to say, okay, this is a new era we're looking at. You're basically, Dustin, you're the last part of it, really. And I'm going to defeat you to erase that mentality of like, oh, we should be looking at the Attitude Era, which is a ripoff, basically ECW, but shut up. But it is, but whatever. But it's a complete character shift going from Goldust to Dustin. It's a complete shot at not only the Attitude Era, but WWE and Triple H, given what happened in the entrance from Cody with the sledgehammer to the throne. There were a few other shots, and I don't know if aside from that, like the after effect. And by the way, you want to talk about arguably the match of the year, though I think Gargano and Adam Cole, I think, rivals that.
They're going to do it again on Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Can't wait.
We're going to talk about that on next week's show. I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Absolutely. But anyway, so we think that this is arguably a debate for a match of the year, and no one should refute that. Can you imagine, given what was discussed in the after promo from Cody to Dustin, making him his tag team partner? Nope, him needing his older brother. And what a heartfelt promo, by the way. Like, that was just absolutely fantastic. That you saw from the cameras, there were actually a few fans tearing up, like legitimately tearing up from this. But imagine going from that match to now having Cody teaming with Dustin against the Young Bucks. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a barn burner.
I'm excited thinking about it. And how about hats off to Dustin Rhodes? Here's a guy, like you said eloquently, Brandon, that in the WWE, they didn't really use him. You didn't see him much the last few years. He's 50 years old. You're wondering, okay, is this a gimmick? Does he really have anything left? And, you know, arguably, he's in the best shape I think we've seen, whatever you want to call him, Dustin Rhodes, Goldust, Dustin Runnels, whatever you want to call him. He looks to me like the guy hasn't aged in 20 years. And hats off to him to be able to stay in there and hang with his younger brother. And you look at that type of match. If I'm going to train to be a professional wrestler, in terms of the psychology, the ring work, a little bit of mix of technical and brawling, all that, everything all into one. That's the kind of match that I would want not only myself but fellow students of the game to watch that type of match. And that's a huge compliment to both Cody and Dustin.
And one more point, I want to actually backtrack to Brandon. He made a point last week about utilizing nostalgia acts, aka older talents. This is actually the point that Brandon was making, that it was done right.
Absolutely.
Earl Hebner being utilized great with his character referee, and Dustin Rhodes. You reference, and this is something that I wanted to talk about, the production values of AEW and what they're doing in presentation. The fact that they're mentioning wrestlers' ages, that is just like so freaking brilliant, because WWE doesn't do that because they want you to believe that The Undertaker is still 1998 and The Undertaker is 33.
I thought he was only 33.
Yeah. They have no problem saying, Dustin Rhodes is 50, man, and he's not in his prime anymore. And they're utilizing the older talents correctly in that sense. Chris Jericho, they did mention he's 48, but now he's a world contender. We'll see what happens. But this was utilizing, just like what Brandon said, that AEW would do that. They did do that with Dustin Rhodes, and what a just legendary performance from the old man.
And now, what do you expect from Cody and Dustin teaming up against the Young Bucks? Because arguably the Young Bucks are the best tag team in the world right now. And what kind of match for our listeners is that going to be like? What do you expect there?
I'll let Brandon take that one. I think he's more well versed, and I'll be honest with you, this is the first time I saw the Young Bucks compete, so I think Brandon has more knowledge of the Young Bucks.
What do I expect? I expect it to be a 40-minute match. I expect it to be slow paced to start it off with. I think before the match even begins, I think you're going to get a lot of this is awesome chants before they even engage. It's going to remind you of basically the Wyatt family versus the Shield.
Oh, that was great.
It's gonna say like, oh my god, this is absolutely so cool. But like go back, and if anybody didn't watch this, watch the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks, and also another great match, by the way.
My next match I was about to talk about. I'm glad you segued that for us.
You might as well get into it, Brandon. Yeah.
A lot of like the 450 moonsault combo was resulted in another near fall. The double stomp from Nick onto the package of a pile driver on Pentagon, still another false finish. So basically what I'm saying is you're going to see a lot of double teams, which are going to be unorthodox. You're going to see a lot of unusual athleticism, I think, coming from Dustin. And you're going to see a lot of false finishes. But you're going to get a lot of this is awesome chance. You're going to get a lot of fight forever chance. And it's definitely, I think Jon Moxley is going to have the most like character storyline invested match. But this match between the Young Bucks and versus Cody and Dustin, it's going to have like the most excitement. It's going to be like pure joy. Consider it almost like this. Consider it like a fusion of the Wyatt family versus the Shield put into the match style of Sami Zayn versus Nakamura. Exactly like that. It's going to be long. It's going to be just, I don't really know how else to describe it. It's just going to be utterly breathtaking. And this, in my opinion, will be, barring any potential injuries, let's cross our fingers,
yep.
barring any of that stuff, this should be match of the year. I said it.
The way that you just analyzed that, Brandon, I think you were looking for a nickname. I think we're going to harken back to the WCW days, the Professor Mike Tenay. I think this is the Professor Brandon Gaines, because you couldn't have described or even articulated the way the match would actually go, and even with analogies from past matches that I could relate to, because I'm a WWE guy, with reference, especially referencing the Shield versus the Wyatt family. That's a great way of describing how that match is going to go. The Young Bucks, they did impress me last night. but I do have some criticisms. So.
All right.